Kim D had a podcast with John Fuda last week, and she had to preface it with a warning to her listeners and her Patreon followers. If you go and check under Kim's Instagram page, you will see that it's absolutely insane. Some people have very strong feelings about the John Fuda interview. Some people are upset that she had him on, or that she wanted to have him on. Some people have threatened that they will cancel their Patreon membership with Kim. Other people say that they will no longer follow her. Some people have said like really nasty things. Like, I'm telling you guys, it's pretty crazy out there. And if you go and read some of the comments, some people are just like directly attacking Kim D because she decided to have John Fuda on, and they see it as some sort of betrayal, because in their minds Kim D should be just vouching for Teresa Giudice just because her and Teresa are softening towards each other. So anyways, to make a long story short, it seems like a lot of people have very, very, very strong opinions of that interview. And I'm not really sure that it's well deserved. Actually, I am sure that it is not deserved at all, in my opinion, especially if people are completely unwilling to give the interview a chance, and they're just really set in their ways. They don't want to like John Fuda. I'm not sure why exactly. People have very strong opinions about him, the way that, you know, he handled the reunion. Some people liked it, some people didn't. So a lot of people see this as a betrayal. But anyways, so one of the things that I would have to say when it comes to that entire interview, and of course, guys, it's on her Patreon, it's behind a paywall, so I'm just going to cover what I think kind of spoke to me a little bit when it came to that interview. So, John, contrary to the popular belief out there online, John is actually talking mostly about his life, his upbringing, some of the troubles that he got into when he was young. He doesn't really go in full details, but he does cover that. He also talks a lot about his son and how his having a son changed his life, how he kind of had to step up and, just become a better person. So people seem to be still upset that his ex was brought up on the show. And if you guys go back to some of my previous episodes, I did cover that. And just that as a refresher, Rachel Fuda is the one who brought up the ex-girlfriend without giving any details on the addiction. Okay, so she just brought her up. She did explain, a little situation that was, a little sketchy or unsafe for Jaden, but she didn't really go, and I don't feel like she dragged her. I don't feel like she was disrespectful towards John Fuda's ex. I just thought at the time that, because this woman is not on the show, and now we're kind of like bringing her up in that way, it's kind of unfair because she doesn't really have a platform to defend herself. I did think that at the time. However, I do not feel like Rachel was being disrespectful when she brought her up on the show. So that's refresher number one. She brought it up, and John Fuda was like, standing in the corner, like of the island in the kitchen. And to me, he looked like he was visibly uncomfortable on camera. He didn't really want to talk about it. When she was talking about that situation, all he said was like, He was not really speaking about the matter. He looked uncomfortable. He didn't want to bring her up. And I even think at some point in time, maybe not during that scene, but at some point in time, he said that the whole adoption process, it's not like that he didn't want to do it sooner. It's kind of just like he doesn't want to bring her back into their lives, because that possibly means that he's going to have to deal with her or have some sort of contact with her in order to officialize everything. So he was definitely hesitant to kind of like open the Pandora's box, because it may mean that they have to reach out to her, which was confirmed by their lawyer at that time, right? But anyways, so one thing that I'm realizing now is that it's kind of difficult to talk about a situation where you want to adopt John Fuda's son without necessarily providing insight to the viewer as to why Jaden needs to be adopted. And we can't act as if like it's not going to raise any question. They're on a reality TV show. Even if they didn't mention anything about the adoption, it would have come out at some point in time. Someone would have leaked it to the blogs and said it's not her son, right? Her mom was this or her mom was that. So at some point in time, they would have had to talk about the situation and why they need to adopt Jaden. So I don't feel like the ex was dragged. I don't feel like they spoke poorly of her. And one thing that I do find compelling in the John Fuda interview was that he said to Candid that in the state of New Jersey, it's hard for fathers to get full custody of their kid. But because the mother was not in a good place to raise their son, and obviously still isn't because of where she is, John Fuda had to step in. So I'm just, what kind of father he would have been had he not stepped up to the plate. People are really quick to just call fathers that don't take care of their kids like deadbeat dad. Like we've seen it on multiple reality shows, even like in Orange County. The ladies were constantly calling Slade a deadbeat dad. They were saying he was not taking care of his financial responsibilities. It's frowned upon, right? So I feel like John Fuda did the right thing. And then, of course, people are never going to be happy. Some people are going to say, oh, well, he had a maid when he was little. Oh, well, his mom was taking care of the kid. Oh, well, this. Oh, well, that. At the end of the day, he was mature enough back then to remove the kid out of like an unsafe situation and step in as a father. And yes, maybe all of those things are true. Maybe he did need the help of a nanny. Maybe he did need the help of a mother. But at the end of the day, he provided a safe environment for his son. Okay, so I don't necessarily think it is fair for people to not want to give him at least that. And Rachel also stepped in. At the end of the day, she helped him raise Jaden, right? So that was one of the things that I really liked from the interview. His love for his son is, you can really feel that. And another thing that I wanted to bring up to your attention, guys, is that there's a lot of stuff going on online, and people are saying that he's, putting Teresa's name in his mouth, and he's talking about Teresa, and he's talking about Louis. Obviously, you have not listened to the interview if this is what you're saying. Maybe you just listened to the 30 seconds or 45 seconds that was released on Kimdi's Instagram account, and you just think that it's just this interview where he's dragging Teresa. It's really not the case. He's not dragging Teresa. He's not dragging Louis. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If you have listened to the interview and this is what you get from it, it's not true, because he speaks about Teresa like for a very short period of time, and he doesn't really say anything negative about her. He actually says at some point in time that him, Teresa, and Louis, they all had interactions and conversations and things were going well, right? And obviously, some things were leaked to the press, and I think that Teresa, in that little sneak peek for next season, we hear her say that, I got this information from your ex. So then, whatever she got from the ex was not anything positive. Like, she called him so many names. She talked about their intimate life. She talked about a lot of stuff. So the fact that John Fuda just decided to retaliate and just say, you know what, you just keep on moving, you're a has-been. A lot of people are taking offense to that, and I don't think that people are understanding the true sense of the word, because people are saying that John Fuda is actually age shaming Teresa. And I don't think that it was said in that manner. I don't even see how you can make the connection between the two. I don't think he's talking about it from a perspective of age. I think what he's saying is, you know, he actually explains this to Kim D. He says, at some point in time, even in sports, you could be the greatest of all time. You could be the GOAT, but you still have to retire. You can't perform to the same extent as you used to when you were young or when you just started this. You go through stuff, you change and all of that. So basically, I understand that what he's saying is that we need some fresh legs. You know, that there's an expression in sports that you say that, fresh legs, right? Soccer and all of that, right? So it's like he's not age shaming Teresa. He's just saying that, you know, she has been on the show for 14 years, 14 seasons. And at some point in time that, yes, maybe the curtains will close, right? Maybe it will be time for her to pass the baton and give the opportunity to the next generation. It's in that way. So really, if you think about it, it's not that big of an insult, if it's even considered an insult at all. But anyways, I digress.